Okay, next one up, number 3, we have Minerva Lithium coming to us from Greensboro, North Carolina. Presenting for Minerva Lithium, we have Shiba Daewoo and Hermali Brathnika. Come on out.
Today, the whole world is transitioning to clean energy, due to which the energy storage market is expected to increase in billions in next coming years. Minerals are fundamental for clean energy transition. And earlier this year, President Biden announced to bolster critical mineral supply chain for minerals such as lithium, which is expected to increase more than 4,000% in coming decade. Lithium is primary component in battery, and battery industry is expected to reach $183 billion by 2025. And this requires 1 million metric ton of lithium. There are various resources of lithium, and the primary ones are hard rock and brine. Mining lithium from hard rock is pretty much what you think it could be, very similar to traditional ore mining. On the other hand, brines are the natural resources of lithium which are present in the form of salt lake, continental brines, and oil field brines, constituting 66% of total global lithium resources. Solar evaporation is a current technique that is used to extract lithium from brine. In this technique, water is pumped into large ponds, about 20,000 acres, and allowed to be evaporated for 36 months. And to just produce 1 metric ton of lithium, they use up 500,000 gallons of water, releasing 5,000 kilograms of carbon, with a production cost of $6,000. So what we see here, that we have enough resources of lithium, but lithium brine industry lack efficient lithium extraction technology to meet the current demands of exploding battery market. Addressing these challenges, Minerva Lithium have developed direct lithium extraction technology using nanotechnology. Our company was founded from my PhD project. During my PhD, I was able to develop nano-mosaic absorbents, which are very similar to sponge. These sponge-like materials are chemically and physically designed to just attract lithium, rejecting all other minerals. So taking advantage of the selectivity, our process is just two-step. Extracting lithium within 48 hours and process it into battery grade. And to produce 1 metric ton of lithium, only 30,000 gallons of water is used with a production cost of $1,000 with zero carbon emission. Let me show you the demonstration of our product. These are our nano-mosaic absorbents, which are made at room temperature. And these are our filter units, which are 5 feet long. In the first step, we add nano-mosaic absorbents into the filters. In the second step, we add the brine that contains lithium. After soaking for 24 hours, we collect the brine to evaluate the amount of lithium absorbed in the sorbents. ICP is an instrumentation which helps to measure and identify lithium. From our results, what we have found out that as the time increases from 0 to 25 hours, the efficiency of lithium absorption increases from 40 to 95%. And later we dissolve and convert into battery-grade lithium. Let me show you the product physically. These are made at room temperature from naturally available polyphenols. And here is our filter units. Which can treat almost 171 gallons of water per minute, extracting 2 metric tons of lithium per day, which is $40 million revenue per year. Our current customers are lithium brine operators. From lithium industry and petrochemical industries capturing market about 1% of global lithium market, which is $13.5 billion by 2025. So comparing to traditional technologies and also recently developed direct lithium extraction technology, our company offers competitive advantage in terms of cost and efficiency. We are a team of scientists and engineers with former CTO of Halliburton serving as business advisor, former CEO of automotive industry serving as chief operating officer. I am Shiba Dawood, CEO and co-founder with PhD in nanoscience. Hemali Ratnaika is a co-founder and associate professor in nanoscience. So Minerva Lithium, with its disruptive technology and outstanding team, aims to provide sustainable energy technology to the global market. And this technology is not just limited to lithium extraction, but can be extended to various chemical extraction like nickel and cobalt. So if you're someone from clean tech space interested in investing or collaborating, sign up for Minerva Lithium. Thank you.
That was wonderful. I love your energy. Are you hiring? Okay. Emmeline, let's go to you.
First of all, so exciting. This is a really innovative space, and I know it's actually relatively early as you think about the ecosystem. I'm curious, though, there are folks who have been innovating, EnergyX probably being the one that's closest to home out of Puerto Rico. And what they found when they were actually speaking with the lithium operators was they actually needed to take their membrane technology and actually create units so that they could be within the ponds, because the pond operators weren't going to change their format. I'm curious, how do you think about your go-to-market strategy? What have you learned? And how do you think about your own go-to-market and pricing relative to competitors like EnergyX and others?
Yeah. So what we thought our go-to-market strategy is exactly, our customers are brine operators who already have inbuilt infrastructure to, to carry out the operations. So we would install our membranes, or we would customize our membranes based on their infrastructure, and that is how we are looking forward to move forward. And also regarding the pricing, we have compared to the solar evaporation, which is a traditional technique, and also the recently developed direct lithium extraction technology, and we are almost like 5 times cheaper than what they do.
Jameson?
Yeah, thank you. Fantastic presentation. And I just think the cost differential between the traditional way of doing it and what you're doing is remarkable. I'm curious, what are the biggest barriers to scalability today in terms of being able to produce the amount of lithium that we need?
Regarding the scalability, the first thing would be, I would say that the material itself, we require huge reactors, and that is why we are here doing fundraising. So where we require at least $1 million or so, where we can create these large reactors to do the extraction process. And otherwise, we as such, we haven't come across any kind of barriers. But I would say, again, the geographical location would be one of the barrier, because not everywhere we see brine operation taking place. Yep. So that could be one of the huge barrier for us.
Terrific. Thank you.
Milo?
Yeah, I have 2 questions. First of all, great work, super exciting. It's going to be a huge market, and there's going to be, I think, a number of technologies that are successful in solving the lithium shortage that we're going to face. So question number 1 is, could you talk a little bit about the reverse process, the process for pulling the lithium out of the filter?
Yeah, I can answer for that. And so after we send the brine into the filter, and so the desoak process is taking about 24 hours. So we use acidification, but we use our proprietary active acidification materials to desoak. And so the desorption is take place about 24 hours. Then after that, we can take it to a 90% recovery efficiency. And after we take lithium-rich brine out, and then after that, we convert that into with our process that developed with Minerva Lithium, convert that into pure 99% purity with battery-grade lithium carbonate. So that product also is able to sell to the battery manufacturers directly.
And a number of the competing technologies have talked about being able to work with brine that is less pure, right? So like right now, a lot of the extraction's happening in South America, but in the US actually has some of their own lithium resources, and looking at how we can extract those. Could you talk a little bit about like if you have any purity requirements in the brine?
Yes, so it's usually the most of the technologies we have out there in the direct lithium extraction processes. So you need to have a high lithium concentration brine in the first place. So that's where our technology is coming very unique. So this technology, you can extract the lithium even the very low concentration of the water to high concentration. Now, for example, the Energy X, if we talk about their technology, they use the membrane technology, but you need to start with the lithium-rich brine concentration, about 2,000 parts per million of lithium concentration to go through the membrane. We are not restricted by that the concentration. We can go from 100 ppm, for example, if there is a seawater, we can get seawater, even we can get the lithium out from that while we recycle in the seawater. So it's the extra benefit from there, and then you can go up to about 2,000 concentration. There is no limitation in the concentration with our technology.
Fabulous.
And then the converting that lithium-rich brine into a lithium carbonate. So our process is 99% purity. So that's where also we can adopt the some of the lithium brine resources people. Then they have this lithium-rich, but they have a technology lacking the technology that converting into a lithium carbonate into the high purity. We can also fit in that market segment also.
Dave?
Wonderful.
Yeah, and this is an inspirational story. Really, really interested in this technology. I'm curious. The lithium mining market is, it's all over the world, and also, you're talking about a massive market where there are a lot of players who could make a lot of money over technology like this. Curious, do the patents that you would need, do they apply to the locations where most mines are? And how do you think about protection on your tech against all of the other chemicals companies that would want to be in the space?
Please keep it short.
So currently, the patent, we do have our own patent, which is fully transferred to our Minerva Lithium. And regarding the geographical restriction, yes, some states have different rules and regulations, and that is where we would be facing some of the limitations and restriction there. But what we are trying to do is trying to develop or have a strategic partnership with the brine operators, and that would give us feasibility to kind of have a joint venture with them.
Well, thank you very much. Give them a big round of applause.
Thank you.